That's yeah. Now you got some warmth to it for sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
perfect. Oh yeah, that
Gotta
looks
look
great.
good for fly information.
Hell yes. I appreciate
Yo.
you coming on here, man. Welcome aboard, everybody. This is called Fly in Formation. It's the interview offshoot for my weekly mix show. The mix show itself is called After the Smoke is Clear, or At Sick Radio. It's currently on its 6th season, and I play entirely Canadian content on there every week. At this point, we're 100% Canadian content. And I do my very best to make sure that it's all new release stuff from the past couple of weeks, couple of months. Do my best to keep my finger on the pulse and just keep up with the entire scene, which is quite the undertaking. So 3 years ago, I decided that I would start reaching out to the different artists whose music I'm playing, and just start kind of trying to pick some brains and learn more about the local scenes. And do my best to just spread the word and spread the spotlight to as many people as we can. So couple years back, I talked to Wordburglar here. Welcome aboard, man. How you doing?
Yo, man, being good. I was just trying to think, how long ago was that? I mean, it
Yeah,
feels like yesterday, but
I
it was
had
a few
to
years, I think.
I had to look it up. It was right around Bergonomics,
Yo,
2022, I think.
okay, dope. Yeah, so it's been 3 years or so. Wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
You
were
look the
in the
same. You
first
look
season
younger,
of this.
man. This hip hop's keeping you young. It's dope.
You
That's
know,
what it's supposed to do.
likewise. I went back and looked, and at that time, my eyes hadn't failed me yet. I now have to wear these glasses, so I get a little bit more, reflection off of the computer screen than I did then. But yeah, I've advanced the show a little bit and feel a little bit more comfortable doing these things, especially when it's guests I've already talked to and built some sort of rapport with. But yeah, man, you've got a lot to talk about in these past few years. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
there was the
Yeah,
Spinner Rack EP since then has dropped.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
and then now over the summer, I'll do my best to recap what I understand has happened. You've got
I don't even understand half of it, so it's all good,
yeah,
homie.
yeah, right. So you got what's it called? The comics rhyme with word burglar? No,
Yeah,
word
rhyme with
burglar rhymes with
somebody. Rhyme with,
comics.
yeah, I
That's what
got
it
this
is.
thing. We just launched it. Wordburglar rhymes with comics.
Beautiful. Yes.
It is a comic book, and it's 15 of my songs illustrated by 15 different artists.
That's so amazing,
Um,
man.
so you can, yeah, and you read the comic and you put on the songs, you play them on the physical media or the digital media, and you can rhyme along with every page. And yeah, I've just got an incredible roster of artists, mostly Canadian comic book creators, a couple of our friends from down south in here, and the cover for any comic book heads is by Steve McNiven,
Yeah.
who is he's done a lot of stuff for Marvel that people may know, like
Worked
Old
on
Man
Civil War,
Logan,
right?
Civil
And
War. Yeah. Like Civil War and Old Man Logan both became movies. So if people know those, the
yeah,
Marvel,
even just
like these days,
the
the
comic
kids know
book
the movies more than the
movie
comics, right?
heads. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
totally.
yeah.
No,
So
he's a
it's
legend, man. And not just him. You've got all sorts of different talent there. I was impressed with the roster that you assembled for that, and it looks
yeah.
beautiful too. That's can you turn it
Thank you,
sideways? I
dude.
want to see how thick
Yeah,
that book is.
yeah, 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 yeah,
100
yeah.
pages, right?
100
Yeah,
pages thick,
yeah,
and you know what? It's
beautiful.
not your average comic book size. So look, I've got a graphic novel right here. Let me just take. Here we go. This 100 Bullets, a good comic if you haven't read this series. But that's the 100 Bullets graphic novel. If you can see, if I pull it
Okay,
back,
so
maybe.
you're a little bit
And then, so this
oversized
is, I
comparatively.
went with the oversize, which
Nice.
was actually, funnily enough, we mentioned Steve McNiven. It's because I love, like, they did the collections. Marvel did the oversized collections of Steve's work. And I was like, yo, I'm just going to do that for this comic. And
Beautiful.
yeah,
Hmm.
so we did a Kickstarter for that, which was crazy. It was my first time doing Kickstarter, and
It looks like
that's
it
a
went well, right? Like I looked at your
yeah.
Kickstarter page today. Is it still going? Can people still sign up to that or?
You can still get late, like what they do. We're accepting late pledges because everything is still, we're manufacturing stuff. Basically, we met all of our stretch goals. We had like stretch goals to do cassette tapes, CDs, tote bags, T-shirts, like um, vinyl. a whole bunch of like bonuses. Like basically we just unlocked a whole bunch of stretch goals, went beyond what I thought we were going to do because I had the comic ready. That was the main thing about the Kickstarter. And if I could give anybody any advice, get your project as close to finished as you can before you launch that Kickstarter. Because otherwise, it's just you're
Right.
going to be like if I was trying to make the comic right now on top of all the other work that comes with doing a Kickstarter, managing hundreds of people's, you know,
Orders and
questions and
payments and
orders and
yeah,
everything, like it's a lot of work to do on top of then just saying, oh, I'm just going to make this 100-page comic book now.
right. Well, I mean, you must have
So
been in a
yeah.
good position because I think a lot of people do the Kickstarter first as a way to then fund putting together whatever they're trying to put together. So, like, for you to have already had the comic book done, how long prior had you been working to make this happen?
Probably when we spoke last around Bergonomic is when I really got the idea to do it because in
Sure.
Bergonomic, I have it with the CD. I included all the lyrics in the CD and we made a big booklet. So every song gets its own art, like you get a picture, like awesome original artwork, and then the lyrics. And then I was like, yo, this could work as a comic book on a much larger scale. Like the Bergonomic CD booklet is 28 pages, which to me is like pretty sweet, fat
A
CD
substantial
booklet.
album
Yeah.
booklet. Yeah, for sure.
Like the idea was like, if I'm going to put out physical media, you're going to get a CD. Like if I was going to buy a CD today, you better give me a fat booklet with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure. Well, you have
yeah.
regular comic books beat with a 28-page book. I think comics are down to what, 20 or 24 pages now most of the time, something like
Yeah.
that for a weekly floppy.
Yeah, you're right. I love that you said weekly floppy because I know your head, your
I
comic head. It's like
I've
get
got a pull list. Yeah,
yeah.
I read comic books. Honestly, I haven't been reading too many of them in the last couple of years, but I maintain the pull list and keep buying the books anyways. So they're stacking on my shelf, if
Yeah.
nothing else. But yeah,
Well, now you
uh,
got glasses, you can read more of them.
there we
So
go. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
But
so
last time we talked, dude, you said you had 4 albums on the way. Was this one of them? Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, well, I guess I would have released Spinnerack, which was an EP. I've been working on the Revenge of Cobra Island. Yeah, this comic book album, it's basically turned into like a greatest hits, right? Because it's
right,
15 previously released songs.
off
So I
of
already
older
had the
albums.
songs.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they like span, I've been doing this for a couple years, so
sure.
I've got a lot of jams. And so for the book, I took the 15 songs that I thought translated into comics really well. And then it, yeah, just kind of became like, oh, this is like a compilation album. So we are pressing it on vinyl. And yeah, just to get back to my earlier point, that's what I'm doing right now. I've got like the vinyl cassettes, the CDs, like all the rewards and stuff. They're all in various stages. So
Right.
that's my fall, just like getting all this stuff manufactured, and then I'm going to be shipping everything off to people once I got it all. But yeah, late pledges we are still accepting, and I'm doing like kind of like a Comic-Con tour. Like I just did Fan Expo in Toronto and Decaf in Halifax, and now I'm off to Edmonton.
Yeah.
For those of for all my Alberta, everybody in Yeg, we're going to Edmonton Expo, September 19th, 20th, and 21st. So I'll be there with the comic. You can come check it out in person.
Very dope.
Yeah,
No musical performance in Edmonton that weekend, though. Hey, I was telling people you were going to be in town that weekend, and
I'm
I
actually
had
doing
somebody say,
too.
"I hope I can make it out to the show."
Yeah, so I'm doing a show at Southbound Brewing on the
Okay,
Friday night, and I'm actually going to be performing at Edmonton Expo as well in the venue. So if you're at
dope.
Edmonton Expo, I'm doing the show in the convention space on Friday, and then later that night, I'm going to be at Southbound Brewing, and then I'll be hanging out at my booth all day Saturday and Sunday at Edmonton Expo, and there might be something happening on Saturday, but I haven't got the final green
Something
light yet.
special
So,
happening potentially on
but yeah,
Saturday. You're saying, yeah, okay.
so I haven't been
Well,
to Edmonton since like pre-pandemic, so it'll be good because I used to get out there once or twice a year, so it'll be dope to get back and see a lot of
Nice,
people. And
man.
I'll be performing with Touch as well. Big shout out to Touch.
Oh, dope.
Touch
Yeah, hell yeah.
182. Yeah, the homie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of
from
the
way
homies
back.
for sure. I've had him on the
Yeah.
show and always appreciated his work over the years for sure.
Oh man, one of the
One of
best
the
in
very
Canada.
best in Edmonton and Canada. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years since I've been to the Fan Expo up in Edmonton, but now living in Lethbridge, there has actually been a year where we drove up in the morning, then we spent the day at Fan Expo. It's a 5.5 hour drive to Edmonton from Lethbridge. We
Yeah.
drove up and then we spent the day and then we turned around and drove back home. And it was a fun day trip. I can't guarantee you that I'll make it up there to see you, but I don't know. Maybe if we feel like there's extra gas money in the wallet, I'll make the trip, man. Because I do
Oh,
love
dude.
comic book expos, and if I could come slap hands, that'd be great. But
Yeah. Well, that'd be dope one of these days, or I'll get to Lethbridge, I guess. Just a reason for me to get out there.
hell yeah! I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there's some
yeah,
venues in Lethbridge that people can book if you're doing the Western Canada tour. Like it's not completely unreasonable to touch down in Lethbridge. I could spread the word a little bit, but
yeah.
yeah, man. So what's the kind of day sitting at a fan expo in a booth kind of go like for, a rapper who is pushing a comic book?
It's pretty fun, It's I've been doing these things for years. I used to work at a comic book store. I worked at two different comic shops, Strange Adventures in Halifax and Silver Snail in Toronto. And so I used to do I used to do Fan Expo Toronto when I worked at a comic shop. So I got used to like standing there all day. You got to have comfy sneakers. That's the one thing. Whether
Right.
if you're going to any one of these, that's like the number one thing I'd say to somebody. Get some comfy shoes. But it's great. Like I hang out at my booth. I've got my records, CDs, shirts, all that jazz, and of course the new comic. Um, I've been to enough of these things that I kind of know you kind of know when you can kind of leave your booth and walk around and check out stuff. It's like, oh, it's kind of a slow time right now. Or, if it's like, early on the Friday, you can kind of sneak around the con because, I want to go
Right.
meet some other artists. And
Sure.
actually, one of the artists who worked on my comic, the last time I was at Edmonton Expo, actually, no, it was Calgary Expo. Kelly Tyndall, we sat next to each other and we were wound up talking about Inhumanoids, which I had been working on a song called
Right.
Blame Inhumanoids, which is, we're getting real nerdy here for anybody tuning in or like not. If you're here and you didn't think this was going to get nerdy, well,
No, this is the place to get nerdy. I mean, yeah, you're on a rap nerd podcast, and you're the word burglar, man. Come on, people should know what to expect
Oh,
there.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good, perfect.
um, but
Anyways, we were talking about Inhumanoids, and I was like, I got this song and I got this comic, and next thing you know, he's drawing he illustrated the song "Blame Inhumanoids," and it's in here. So
dope, man.
that was an Alberta magical moment.
So I wanted to ask, like, with 100 pages and 15 songs, you're looking at like what, 6 or 7 pages per song type deal. Does it actually stick to that, or are there some of them that are longer and others that are shorter?
Yeah, you know your anthologies, don't you?
Yeah.
It ranges from like 2 pagers, so we've got like pinups, all the way to 12 pagers. So it's a whole
Okay.
variety, depending on like what the artist could commit to. Like I had some people who were like, "Oh, I really want to be involved, but I can only like do like 2 pages." Like that's awesome. We'll make it work. So some are like a full page pinup, and then you've just got the lyrics on the other page, so you can read along.
Dope.
And then others, yeah, are like much longer, like fully
Actual
illustrated, like
panel.
panel per panel.
Dope.
Because I
And
was
so
like,
are all the dialogue boxes like your lyrics then? Is that how
that's
this is
it.
working? Okay,
It's
cool.
only the song lyrics. There's no like, and then Wordburglar turned around and was surprised to see Beat Mason. No,
Right.
it's like, no, here it's just the rhymes. So,
That,
because you don't want that interrupted flow, right? And like I put a lot of work into this, like starting, like I said, about 3 years ago.
yeah.
I've been chipping away at this and working with each artist, plotting out how each one was gonna work. And it's just like making an album, right? Working with a comic artist, it's really like working with a producer and just like you're building together and like how are we gonna do this thing? How are we gonna figure this out? What's the end thing gonna be? How's it gonna, combine
Yeah.
both of our art together? And I love it.
So
I love that process. It was different for everybody.
I wanted to get into that process for sure. Do you dabble in visual art yourself? Like, are you, you know, able to drop a storyboard or something like that to kind of give some ideas to people of how you would interpret the song visually, or was it mostly on the artists themselves to take it right from scratch and come up with it on their own?
Yeah, it's very much like when I work with producers for beat making. I can do it like on a level that like is just enough to get the idea across. So I can do like
Sure.
little doodles and sketch out like here's what I'm thinking, and I can think like I know their artwork, and I'm like I can visualize how they are going to, how they could approach this.
Bring it to
So yeah,
life. Yeah.
yeah. So I do, and I recommend if you have any artistic skill at all, whether you're working on an album cover or like a comic book or something, like yeah, being able to, as a writer anyway, being able to sketch out like little stick men or little doodles and stuff to illustrate it, it helps. And I've done that for like pretty much most of my album covers as well. Like I'll do like draw something on a napkin, like here you go. And then like for beats, it's like, I'm always digging for samples and I can like find, I'm like, okay, this part of the sample, right about here, let's loop it and let's do all this. But I can't make the beat as banging as possible. Like I stopped
Right.
like trying to make my own beats years ago when I'm just like, I'm just gonna bring these samples over to this insanely talented producer and, build that together. So I mean, that's a big thing that I've learned over the years, and it's helped me definitely like speed up my process because I could spend like hours and hours and hours trying to make one little thing in a beat work where
Right.
I know a producer who could make it happen in like a half hour, and it's like bam, there you go. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna
Give the
work on my
work to the
time.
people on the
Yeah,
team who are best at it, right?
yeah,
Assemble a
yeah,
team and spread the work around. Yeah,
exactly. Delegation. Yeah,
definitely. That's the word.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to ask too, like, do from song to song in this 100-page comic, is it a maintained narrative throughout the entire comic that you've managed to put together, or is it like separate issues for each song, kind of separated
Yeah,
song by song?
they're all individual, but that was
Okay.
one other thing about putting it together was like looking at all the songs I was gonna do, arranging them like an album. So there's still a flow. So we open up with Verbal Pursuit, which is like a real banger. It's like that pulse pounding, just like lyrical onslaught. And
Yeah.
then it like you follow the rhythm of an album. So like, like anyone who knows you make an album, make a mixtape, whatever, like you need that flow and the ups and downs and like you don't want two songs that are exactly the same kind of vibe right next to each other. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I built it that way. But no, each story is very much its own thing. Like we got a song about this like kind of barbarian Dungeons and Dragons like He-Man character, and then we've got a song about me going to space and explaining to aliens why Earth rules. And
Yeah, yeah, that
it's just
makes
fun.
sense.
Yeah,
That was my guess that that would be the way
yeah,
that it was, but I thought, well, maybe he managed to weave it into some sort of maintained narrative throughout the entire thing. But
yeah,
yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense because your songs do always have these very different topics. You'll
yeah.
really get into one topic or the other and really make a lot of references about one thing in each different song, kind of
Yeah,
deal. Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah, I try and
um,
make each one its own thing. And it was really like writing a whole bunch of music videos, which was so fun. It was like, well, I don't have $1 million to make this insane science fiction music video, but we
right.
could do an 8-page comic about it. So
Yeah.
it was really like it was super fun. So
So
yeah.
it has to be slightly cheaper than doing music videos for everything, but I mean, these are professional artists. I'm sure they, cost money to employ and are looking to feed their families like anybody else, right? So,
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
I wanted to kind of ask about like how did you line up this roster of people? Was it through a lot of management and stuff, or was it like just people you've met at comic cons and shaken hands with and built relationships kind of ground up?
Yeah, I dealt with everyone. Like, I don't have a manager, and I didn't deal with anybody's managers. It's like you said, it was people that I've met over the years, friends of mine. Working in comic book retail and going to comic conventions for so long, and just basically like I was into comics and music. When I was a kid, I was making mixtapes and making my own mini comics. Like when I was like 12 years old. So
Right.
I've just still been doing all of that stuff now as like an old grandpa. Um,
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah,
not
could
quite,
be.
not quite,
Yeah.
not quite, kids. But I just, I've just been doing it forever. And over the years, I've just met so many different people. And yeah, I mean, look, the artists, they were all so generous. Like I wanted, I took care of everybody. And like a lot of artists were just like insanely generous with their time and their skill and their talent because
Sure.
they were like totally into the idea. And that was the cool thing that everybody, I worked with each artist, like, what song do you want to do? Like, I think you would be good for this song for XYZ reasons. And they'd be like, yeah, yeah, cool. And other artists were like, I really want to draw this song. Has anybody picked this one yet? And I'm like, man, I wasn't even going to do that one. But if you want to illustrate that, that'd be crazy. Let's do it. So,
Yeah.
and that's now happening. We're working on volume 2. And I've got people messaging me. It's like, yo, if you're doing another one, can I do this song? I'm like, yeah, you can. So,
That
and we are
led
working
right
on number
into
2.
where, yeah, that
Yeah,
led right where I was going to ask. So this was number one. And the it says kind of, it talks about in the write up about how the way that these songs were meant to, always meant to be in comic book form or something like that. And I kind of thought, like, did you ever actually imagine that this would be turned in, like, that any of these songs could see comic book form as you were writing them? Or um and then I guess as an extension of that, if you were writing songs specifically knowing that they were going to be turned into comic books, like going forward with more volumes of this, if you're writing new songs for it,
man.
what's the approach and how would that change?
Doobyis, you're so wise. You're so insightful. That is so
Hey,
like, it's exactly my train of I was like thinking that exact same thing. It's like, wow, now that I've figured out how this works, going back in time and taking older songs, thinking about songs in that new way where it's like, oh, it's really it's unlocking new ways at storytelling where it's
mm-hmm,
really like combining, like, I'm like, I could do a whole album that is just fully illustrated from start to finish. I mean, that's like a longer, bigger thing, but I'm already like writing down ideas for that.
yeah,
So yeah, there are a couple questions there. I mean, so many of my songs, like, like you said, I've got a wide variety of topics, and there's definitely like that comic book adventure sci-fi vibe along a lot of them. So in my mind, I could always see them as like, I'm telling a story here. I'm telling a story in like 2.5 minutes. And I've like, I take it very seriously when I'm writing the songs, especially like those storytelling songs. And I'm
right,
like visualizing stuff and writing all these little notes and odds and ends and stuff within the rhymes. And then, yeah, so then when translating them into comics, it's like, oh, this visual stuff is already here. Um, and then what it becomes, the challenge is like, how much of the like say do you include? Like, oh, just because I say like a slice of pizza, am I going to illustrate a slice of pizza here? Or are we going to
right,
do something else? And that's just like the reference. So in some cases, yes, like in Verbzerker, yes, I wanted an illustration of a giant crazy dinosaur fish because that would be amazing. That's in the song, and I'm like, I want to see that. But then some other things where it's like, oh, I don't need to illustrate that. Like if the character's doing something else, um,
right.
progressing to the next panel. So yeah, it's fun.
So
Yeah,
as
it's
far as
definitely.
writing new songs, have you thought about, like, if you're writing new stuff specifically for, like, will the next album be new songs, or what's the plan for the next one?
Yeah, the next comic, I mean, it's very slowly coming together. This one took me like over 3 years to get ready. So
Sure.
I would love, my desire is to I have a bunch of new stuff. I've got tons of new stuff recorded that no one's heard yet. That's just, so I would love to be able to debut new songs in volume 2, but I do have other albums that I'm working on as well. So there's just going to be this constant flow. Like I'm always working on something here in the Wordburglar. So, um,
Last time you
yeah,
mentioned Remember the Fan Base. Is that album still in the
yes,
works? You said it
man.
was a homage to a comic store you used to work at. Is that the Halifax one you said?
Yeah, so Remember the Fan Base is like inspired by largely by my time at Silver Snail in Toronto. Um,
Okay.
and that song, so that album became part of it became the Spinner Rack EP. So that's when we would have spoken about that last time. I'd been working on this whole concept album as Remember the Fan Base. And then the spinner rack stuff came together, and I wound up releasing that as an EP. And the idea is there's a second part, like the spinner rack part 2 EP, which is, 7 more songs all set in that world around this. Like the fan base is the fictional comic shop that, yeah, largely inspired by my time at the Snail, where it was an older comic shop that like opened in the late 1970s and had seen many different ups and downs. Like, you're a comic book guy, like you
Sure.
get
Yeah.
like
I'd
the
watched the
wave.
comic industry almost die several times through the course of several decades, right?
Yeah, and Silver
Yeah.
Snail's still around. They're in a third location or fourth location from their original shop. But when I used to work there, it was on Queen West in downtown Toronto. And there was already just so much history there. And like, if you're into that world, I get it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're into that stuff, the lore around something like that and that world, you take it for granted when it's like, how has this shop been here for 30 or 40 years? What have
Right.
they seen? Like you're saying, like the comic industry almost dying in the 90s, the 80s craziness with Frank Miller and Alan Moore, and then into like
I,
with
I would have
Image
said
and
the
like,
first time it died was almost even before that. Like, wasn't the whole comic code thing? Wouldn't that have been after the 70s? Or am I thinking that might be before the 70s even? That might have been the
yeah,
50s or something.
I think Comic Code is much earlier. Comic Code
Right.
would have been around the time of EC Comics when they did all the like crazy horror comics. And I'm
Right.
not sure the exact year, but I want to say it was like early 60s or so. And then
Sure. Yeah.
Marvel, blew up in the 60s, as they like evolved, and we all know what happened with like,
Yeah.
Avengers and Spidey and everything like that. And then they were, you know, those old horror comics were kind of buried, but that's a whole other podcast.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Which
No,
I would love to do, man, if you wanted to.
I mean, just touching on it,
Yeah.
that's enough. But yeah, you're right.
Um,
They've definitely seen a lot of ups and downs throughout the years if they've been around
but it was
in a major city
crazy.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I remember being there like it was prior to I mean, I was working there before the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man movie came out. And then I was working there when it came out. And the shift, like almost instantly within like 3 months, when that first Iron Man movie blew up, and we all know how the Marvel movies took off from there, like
Yeah. They haven't
comic,
stopped since. It's been
no,
yeah, one after the next. Yeah.
but that was an era that pre Tony Stark, like that before that, man, comic stores were really dying. Like it was
Right.
unfortunate. There was great stuff coming out, but like also there was like 2 good Iron Man comics out of like 100. Like honestly, like
Sure.
there was not, it was so weird the shift. And then when that movie came out, everybody came in, they're like, what's the best Iron Man comic? And I'm like, well, it's like Demon in a Bottle, or maybe like it's this, introduction of War Machine, and like we're sold out of both of those, and then it was like a long, like, and Demon in the Bottle was only popular because it was like Tony being like a jerk who was an alcoholic, right? And
Right. Yeah.
then
It was
like,
about his kind of downfall or whatever, rock bottom. Yeah.
yeah, like as a lifelong comic fan, I was never that into like Thor and Iron Man. It was like these, give me Spider-Man or Batman, and I read so much other stuff. Anyways,
Yeah.
you can
No,
get me going on comics, man.
I think as with them starting that with Robert Downey Jr., I think that was a bit of a long shot on a smaller IP, right? Like they
Yeah,
probably knew that not so many people were huge Iron Man fans, but I mean,
yeah,
thankfully they did it because I've enjoyed watching a lot of those movies. Beat
oh
up on
yeah.
comic book movies. What's your take on the current state of comic book movies?
I have not seen the last, like the big ones. I still haven't seen Superman, Thunderbolts, or Fantastic Four. I've been waiting for those, but I try and watch them. I've watched most of them, and I think there's still some really good ones.
That's where I'm at too. I feel like they're
Like
still as entertaining as they've ever been, and they're as nostalgic as they've ever been if you're actually a comic book head. And they're
yeah,
they're as good as they've ever been in that they're fun to watch, on a big screen and eat some popcorn. And like, is it going to change your life? Probably not, but like,
yeah,
it's something entertaining to watch, and that's kind of all I'm looking for in most movies. So yeah,
yeah,
I,
and
I,
it's opened the door for stuff like the Invincible cartoon, which I love the Invincible
right.
comic book. like when that was coming out, I was working at the shop during those days when like maybe we were selling like 3 copies of Invincible back then. And I was like upping orders every month, like trying to like hand sell it to people because like you got to read this comic.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, like stuff like The Boys taken off, and then The Boys was originally canceled by DC Comics, and then another company took over. Dynamite took it over. Um, but now like shows like Peacemaker are kind of like DC's almost boys
Version of it.
show.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
like really weird to see stuff like that happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you getting static from my mic sometimes, or am I
A
just hearing
little
that?
bit. Sometimes, well, I don't actually hear it audibly, but I see your camera go fuzz once, just
Oh,
for a split second every now and again. But no, I'm not hearing your mic sounds good. Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah. And probably we can't do anything about a video signal cutting out every now
Where's
and
my
again.
sound person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call the producers. Yeah. Um, so something over the years, doing this interview series that I've talked about a lot is kind of the state of physical merch, and how I might be the only one waving this flag, but I encourage people to just drop their albums as t-shirts. Sell t-shirts and QR codes, and that way people leave the venue with the t-shirt and they're still going to go stream your music like they would if they bought a CD to collect dust on their shelf, because CD players aren't even a thing anymore. My computers don't have them. My car doesn't have one. Like, I buy albums at shows and then I take them home and set them on a shelf so that I can go stream the music. Like, so it just seems wasteful to me in some ways. But this, what you've done here seems like a kind of a good step where, like, here's a physical thing you can sell to people and they can go stream the music like they would anyways. I mean, like, I think it comes with a QR code, like you said, right? To listen along or whatever. But
Yeah, you can
like,
download. There's links to download everything. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, keep going.
No,
Yeah.
no, go ahead. I'm just ranting really about this, but like, do you think that, like, is this a step away consciously from physical albums for you? Because I mean, with the Kickstarter doing as well as it's doing, it sounds like there's also going to be physical albums coming with it. But would you
Yeah,
ever consider of releasing something just as a comic book? Like,
it's funny. I love physical media, and increasingly, I've just done about 6 or 7 shows in the last couple weeks, and people are buying CDs, they're buying records. Like I just repressed. This is an album. We just did a 10th anniversary replicable skills on
dope.
vinyl. And like I try and if I'm doing the physical, I want it to be awesome, right? So we've got this orange vinyl for replicable skills. But this was like I had it on CD. I sold out of the CDs. I've been out of them for years. And I was
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna repress it on vinyl. And people were like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, I love physical media. I've got the song called CDs Are Back, where, I say something on there where it's like, you know, the internet interrupts albums with ads. And that is so true. Like if I love an album, like, I haven't listened to this De
right.
La Soul album in forever. I haven't listened to this Nas record. And it's like, I'm on the go and I just put it on digitally. I don't want to get interrupted. I don't want ads coming up. I don't want
That's fair. Yeah.
old versions. I want that thing. I want to put on Illmatic on my own turntable. I just want to vibe out to that. I want to pop the CD in. I just got a CD player, a portable CD player for my car. Like my wife
Nice.
actually got it for me. And I like and I'm finding I'm selling stuff to younger, like 18, 19-year-olds who are buying CDs. And they're that way where they're like, you know what? I want to own this album. Like a lot of stuff people will stream, but if it's something you really like,
Yeah.
you want to own that. You want the artwork. You want to be able to listen to it on your own terms. Whenever Sunday morning you wake up, you just want to slide that CD in. They're still making new CD players.
You can
And I
still get
feel
them. Yeah, totally.
the way like Spotify's going, the way all these things are going, like I think it's more important than ever to have physical media, to have if you really believe in that stuff. Um, I'm not releasing
So
like 50 mixtapes a year on, cassette, but like
yeah, I mean,
it's like you make it a special physical thing. I'm always gonna do that. Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that people do love to buy physical products, and that people who want to support, they want to do it by buying an album at the show, even though they know that they can stream it or whatever. It's like you said, even young people are want to own the thing and have the thing. I just feel like maybe that's like a bit of a like pat rat brain that humans have, where we like
You think?
we don't really need all this plastic in the world, guys. Like, and especially when
Yeah.
people are buying it and we're shipping it to them, and it just kind of feels like, is it really necessary? But everyone I
No.
tell this to is like, yeah, it's necessary. Everybody loves those fucking things. You're nuts. So I
It's the treasure hunt, right? It's the hunter-gatherer mentality. It's that finding that thing, like, yeah, I don't need every Nas album on vinyl, but I know I definitely want Illmatic, and maybe I'll get, like, Godson. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, "I'm gonna
yeah.
get these few ones here." But, like, yeah,
Well,
it's
and
a hunt.
also I'm a guy who collects things. I've got
Yeah,
long boxes full of, I've got boxes and crates full of CDs. I've got, piles of vinyl. I have collected. I do love also owning physical albums. I love the liner notes, all that good stuff.
yeah,
Um, but since doing AtSick, there's just too much music that comes out. I'm buying $30 worth of singles every week, and I just do it as digital singles. And it's kind of got me to a part where I'm like, okay, well now I've got, my MP3 library backed up on three different external drives just in case,
yeah,
a couple terabytes worth of music. And like that kind of scratches the same itch for me that like going out and buying the CD used to. It's just, I think people don't buy digital music, they just consume the streams. So they feel
that's
like,
it,
well, I
right?
want to support, when it's like, well, you could just buy digital music. And like it's so beautifully cheap for artists to supply digital music to people like that, right? Like people don't
Yeah,
have to bankroll the vinyl if people are just buying digital music off of them or whatever. So yeah, I
yeah,
think once artists reach a certain point and have a lot of fans like you do who are willing to buy that vinyl and willing to buy that stuff, it's not so much of a gamble to be fronting the money to press all the stuff in the first place or whatever. Whereas a lot of artists who are really just kind of on the come up, you know, those are the guys I guess mainly I'm encouraging. Like, well, don't worry about vinyl. Like, that's going to be
yeah,
4 grand that you could put into touring or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
um, so yeah, I don't. I think it's interesting watching what's going to happen with the physical music space, because ultimately music isn't physical. It's we're listening to music, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, we grew up listening to physical media, right? And it is like whole new thing. And even just being at the convention, some people come up and they're like, "What are these? Like, how does this?" Like, I was sitting next to someone who had cassettes, and
right,
I'm doing my first cassette with with the Kickstarter, and a lot of people are like, "This is great! It's the first time you're doing a cassette. Why is it taking so long?" Exactly like you said. I'm like, well, I don't want to be putting out that much plastic in the world. Like, I'm already putting out the CDs, but if I'm going to put out something, I want it to count.
yeah.
And I recycle, I do my thing, and, I
Well, and
mean, everything
ultimately,
you
you
said,
and I aren't the problem.
no, yeah,
It's the corporations that are polluting a ton more than we are, or whatever. I recognize that too, but
yeah,
I
and
just
it's crazy, like, you know yeah, there's a lot of arguments for both sides. I mean, that's the reason I love Bandcamp, like, I use Bandcamp mainly just as a fan as well because I can download and own those MP3s and the WAV files or the FLACs or whatever you want,
and
you know?
support artists doing it, right? More than just streaming it
Exactly.
by
But
yeah,
but then you own the thing, like, that's when people are like, "Well, what's the best way to support your music?" I'm like, "Go to my Bandcamp, I have most of my stuff up there for name your price. If you can't
yeah,
afford it, you can still get it for free. I want you to have it and enjoy it, but then you can have it. You can put it on that hard drive you're talking about. You've
yeah.
it's there." Because like, I've got CDs from, like, back in, like, 2005 when I was doing my first gigs from like random rappers who have fallen off the face of the earth and we'll never see again. Their stuff will never be on streaming, and I don't even know if they're alive, to be honest. But I've
I've
got their
probably
CDs.
interviewed three of them. Watch the playlist of Fly Information. These guys are still out there. They just
Yeah,
disappear for 10 years and then come back. But yeah, no,
yo, man, like, I'm pack ratting, so maybe one day someone's gonna be have this huge Canadian underground hip hop, library of archive of all these digital files. Like, anybody got that old record from, you know, Casual G from, where Brampton, Ontario? I'm like, yo, I got that Casual G single.
yeah,
That
yeah.
CD maxi signal. No, there's no
Um,
Casual G that I know of. I just pulled that name out. So if
just
Casual G is listening, it's not directed at you. Um,
sure. The other casualty. Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out there. You mentioned like if there's somebody archiving it, there is
Mm,
an East Coast Canadian hip hop archive run
yeah,
by a guy named
Hermit, right?
Hermit of the Woods. Yeah, I
Yeah,
talked to
shout out
him
Hermit.
on Fly Information a while back and
Dude,
was
he's the
impressed
best.
at what he's assembled there for that library.
Oh, yeah, he has stuff that I'm like, "Oh, I forgot I'm on that CD." Like, it's like it's crazy. Yeah, big shout out to him, and huge shout out to you. Like, you doing it, I said this last time, but it is so important. I'm sure it feels like it can be like a thankless job. You're obviously so passionate because, I
Stream
ran
numbers
a
aren't there.
yeah,
I look at the numbers on this thing and I'm like, well, it got 60. That's good for
yeah,
me. Like 60 plays on one of these interviews. That's fucking great. And then it'll be there for years. So maybe people watch it here and there down the line. But I just have fun doing these things, man.
yeah,
It's a trip to me that I've managed to create a platform where I just get to have like hour-long conversations with a bunch of people who I actually like admire, who normally it would be like maybe you could slap hands with them at a show and be like, "Yo, that was a good set." And they'd be like, "Yeah, thanks." And that would be the interaction, but like now I just get to be like, "Hey, do you want to sit and talk with me about music for the next hour?"
yeah.
People sign up to do it. Like it's beautiful, man. It's
Dude,
great.
well, it's great, and I love that, like yourself, and like, there's guys like Tom Quinlan at Han Solo Records got a shout out, like such a
Yeah.
like lifer in the Canadian hip hop scene that like I was just hanging with him the other night, and it's like the wealth of knowledge, and he's still so passionate and so like dedicated to finding new stuff, like, and he's still putting out stuff the same way he was putting it out back in
Hell
like,
yeah. Yeah.
whenever late 90s or like it's just like amazing.
Big ups to
But
Han Solo. He taught me
yeah,
something Sunday night. He told me that DJ Moves, who I've done a fucking album with. I mean, like it was not like we were in the same room doing it, but he produced beats on something that I rapped on, and I didn't know he rapped. But Thomas told me Sunday night that, like, yeah, DJ Moves raps under the name Head Three, and he was part
yeah,
of the Five-Headed Monster on this album, and he's got a
yeah, dude.
solo album where he rapped, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've
It's
talked to
crazy.
Moves for one of these interviews too, and
Oh
didn't know
man.
that at all, man.
The first time I actually met Quinlan was in Halifax. I was in high school and I was at Moves' place because Move is obviously a huge legend. And
Yeah,
he would, all the MCs would just go to his place because back then there weren't many DJs or anybody recording stuff. And we'd go hang out there. And I was just kind of like hanging around. And Quinlan was in town doing like an interview. And then like years later, I reconnected with Quinlan. I was like, "Hey, yo, you wouldn't remember me, but I was like this annoying little high school kid hanging out at Moves' place way back in the day, and here's my demo." And next thing I know, he was putting out my vinyl, and so who knows how that the
I
universe
feel like he's the
flows.
type of guy who probably did remember you if you
Yeah,
were wrapping it all around him. I think
yeah,
he makes pretty close notes of who's doing what on the scene most of the time.
yeah. But yeah, I
Um,
got a lot of love for Quinlan. So yeah,
Hell yeah, yeah,
but
definitely,
yeah,
man. So I guess I wanted to ask you, is there a way that you can kind of integrate some of this like visualization into a live show? Because you've brought it in, to replace a music video, but how do you bring it into a live show?
that's a great idea. Well, I got to get good at PowerPoint presentations, and
Right? Yeah. Click the button as you're up there rapping. Yeah.
and here we are, doing a TED talk, and this is the part where Wordburglar leaps over the word precarious. Um, um, yeah, I haven't done it yet. I definitely am looking into making some motion comic videos
Okay.
of the songs. I mean, that feels like it's just like the perfect marriage and be a fun thing to do. And then it's like a like one level above a lyric video, I guess, with like an animated comic book going to the lyrics. So
So that's
maybe
like one
that,
level below full animation, though, right? Like it's like comic when people take the comic books and then you make the frame move, but the guy isn't actually moving. He just kind of slides across the frame or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's how they did the really old like Jack Kirby Marvel
The original
cartoons.
Marvel ones. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Bam, pow, zap.
I
Yeah.
kind of love that style.
That
So
was dope.
that would be really fresh. So I'm currently exploring ways to do that with a few different creators. And yeah, I guess I could put it, I've never really been one to have visuals at my performances. I'm kind of like I am the visual. I'm going to be doing this live thing,
Right.
you know. You listen to me. I don't want you distracted. Like I was at a concert recently and like everyone's just staring at the screen behind the people. And it's
Right.
like, okay, it's cool you got your music videos behind you, but like it kind of sometimes, and not always, but it can make the people lazy, right? But
Was
if
it
there
a
is a great
DJ?
way
I've
to,
seen a lot of screens behind DJs, but
I mean,
yeah, I don't
DJs,
know.
it makes sense, I guess, more, but like if you're rapping and performing and putting on a show, like, it's,
Yeah.
I look, it does work and people do it well, but it's,
Got to
I
be the
feel
right
like,
visuals behind you, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got to figure out how to do that, but
Huh. Interesting. So I wanted to ask you too about like you've been on the road a lot. You're constantly doing shows here, there, elsewhere. Uh, how do you manage to continue to make new music while you're spending so much time out promoting the old music?
that's a great question. I was just like thinking about, okay, in 2 weeks when I get back from Edmonton, then I can finally finish these tracks and get into the studio. I'm always writing. I'm writing on my phone. I carry a notebook with me, like old school with a
Okay.
pen. I'm always writing down rhymes. I've got like I hope I never lose my phone because I have so many like half written songs on there and like all these like
Back it up
rhymes
to the
and lyrics.
cloud, man. I know so many
Yeah,
people who have lost those phones,
yo,
drop it in
I'm
the water
Android
or
too,
whatever.
man. That's
Yeah.
another reason. Like I'm Android. I'm not iPhone, and I'm Android because I can drag and drop MP3s right onto my phone. That's
Yeah.
like so. I'm like all about that way. When you can't do it with an iPhone.
I'm in that
Um,
same boat, man.
yeah,
Yeah. iTunes
yeah,
makes it annoying. You have to sync
yeah,
it with iTunes or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and then it erases all your stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I get set in my ways, and but yeah, I'm always working on new stuff. It's more like just getting into the studio. Like I can record demos and stuff here deep underground in the Wordburglar, but
Yeah.
I like to go to a real, my homie's studio. Like shout out Timbuktu, shout out Fresh Kills. Just had twin babies, like
Yes.
crazy big
Yeah, I
drops to
saw that.
kills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I probably won't be recording at his studio in the near future, but Tim
He'll be busy. Yeah.
you give him a bit of time with the kids.
Maybe
And
some of those other guys that work with him in that studio can help
yeah.
out Meyer Clarity or King Jess or
Yeah, yeah,
somebody. Yeah,
Clarity,
those
dude,
guys.
Clarity's dope. Yeah, he's yeah, I should call Clarity and get in and record with him.
I
Um,
think they have an album coming too, the two of those guys.
yeah,
Because yeah,
I'm
Fresh
on it
Kills is
actually.
always busy. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm on the Clarity album, and unless it got cut, I don't know. I did half the time I'm like I forget some of these tracks. You do them like so long ago, and then
Right.
it comes out like I'll just get a tweet randomly one day and I'm like tagged, like UrbNet tags me in something. I'm like, oh, that album came out. I guess dope.
Yeah.
It's not like I remember when I was a kid, like being like, how does this? Oh, yo, how does this guy's featured on this album? And how does this work? And how does whatever? It's like, man, I don't know. You record this track, and then 2 years later, someone adds you on Twitter.
I've had some songs like that come out where I've featured on somebody's track, and then like yeah, a year or two later, it hits Spotify, and they message you, and I kind of go like, "What did I say on this?" and have to like listen back to it, and the words kind of come back as you're doing it, but like the average feature verse, I kind of write and record and send it off, and you're
Yeah,
not like practicing it to perform or anything, so you just like don't think about
yeah.
it ever at all. But yeah,
That's
uh,
fun. That's a great question for people. What did I say on that song? Like if you ask, because I'm just like, yeah, like we did the back burner, like we've recorded millions of these back burner songs. Like that's our big group for those who
yeah,
don't know. And those things are usually done in such a crazy whirlwind where it's like we throw in a beat, everybody starts writing, and then whoever finishes writing first hops on the mic, records their first, then you kind of go on to the next one. We do a bunch of different ways. Sometimes you just sit with the beat for a long time and you come back to the studio, but a lot of those verses, we've got 3 full-length backburner albums, and a lot of those were written in the studio, and we're all trying to like, entertain each other with our lyrics, which is so fun. But
yeah.
also like exactly like you said, you write the verse, you record it, you're out, do a million things, forget about it entirely. They mix it, they master it, it sounds amazing. The thing comes out later. It's like, oh wow, I forgot all this. And there's this one song where I made a reference and everyone's like, what are you talking about here? And we were all joking about some award show clip where I think it was like Ryan Gosling was sitting next to his sister or something, and everyone was like, "Who is that girl with Ryan Gosling?" And it's like that became the rhyme. and I completely forgot about it. And then it
Got
was
a
in,
bar about Ryan Gosling's sister in
yeah,
some
and there's,
track somewhere.
yeah. And but
As a
that's like
result,
the fun of it, and it's like I don't know how many, but yeah. So I don't know, like,
right,
yeah, when
man.
the Meyer Clarity thing comes out, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was a dope verse. I mean, it's always a dope verse, but like,
Hell
yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, I want to hear that song now.
How about you mentioned Timbuktu? He just dropped Thunderdome. I want to say last month. Dope album. I bought Ready for War and a
Yeah,
couple other tracks off there. Ready for War was the one that you're on with him. Oh, I liked that.
yeah.
How were those from some of those kind of back burner sessions, or was that a specific,
That was a
call up and
specific
get on that
Timmy,
track?
like, yeah, that was a specific Timmy. Like, I'm working on the new album, and the concept for that track was like 80s movie montages. So my verse are like a whole bunch of, it's just a whole bunch of references to like, Van Damme movies and Hard Ticket to Hawaii and random old like crazy VHS cinema and
Yeah.
Aliens, like basically all my favorite like action movies from that era, late 80s VHS
Oh, just a second
stuff.
here. I'll be right
Yeah.
back. This is the first interview I've ever stood up and walked away to grab something to show. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Dope. I don't know if we're still, if this is streaming live and I'm still on here. Thank you for tuning
You were
in.
mentioning the VHS
Yo,
of old
yes.
action movies there.
Rumble in the
Yeah,
Bronx.
got the
Dude,
Rumble in the Bronx
you should have been on
classic
the
on
track, man.
VHS.
Yeah, you should have been
It
on
could have
there.
been dope,
Jackie
man.
Chan. Was
Yeah,
that
I'm
one
always
shot in
down to rap, man.
Vancouver? I feel
Oh,
like that was done in
yeah,
Vancouver for some reason.
maybe. I'd have to Google and ask. It's been a long time since I've seen this because I can't play
Yeah.
VHS, but
Like, I
yeah,
remember it was supposed to be
definitely a
the
classic.
Bronx, but it was like a Canadian city.
Probably Vancouver then. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Just shoot it in
Um,
front of a brick wall and call it the
yeah.
Bronx. You'll be okay.
I could be wrong, but it's one of those Jackie Chan movies I think was done in Vancouver.
All I can
Um,
really remember
yeah.
from it, honestly, I remember loving it when I was like a kid or whatever, and he gets run over by a hovercraft in it. That's the one scene that I can like
Oh
vividly
man.
remember as him laying on a beach and being run over by like a huge hovercraft that goes
Oh
over him
man.
with the blades just above him.
Was Special
But
Ed driving it? You know, Special Ed? He has this old video where he's driving a hovercraft and he's
hovercraft?
from New York, so
No, it could
yeah.
have been. You never know. Yeah.
What
Uh,
video is it? Maybe I got it made. Maybe check out for the heads out there who knows. Somebody knows which Special Ed video he's driving a hovercraft in. But yeah,
so I'll check it out and see if I can put it on
yeah.
screen for when I put this video on YouTube. Um, so,
But
dude, I
yeah,
wanted to
Timmy's
ask
album's
you.
dope. Everyone should go get it. Sorry,
They
but please.
definitely
Yeah,
should. They definitely should. Thunderdome, it's called.
yeah. Honor of
Um,
Net. Good people. Dope
yeah,
album.
yeah, hell
T-Hawk's
yeah.
Collectibles. Beats are
And
crazy. Yeah,
Timmy is super dope. His
he's
style
the
is
best.
so distinct and yeah, just fun. He's fun to listen to. That guy's rap style is fun.
He's
Uh,
insanely talented. Like
yeah,
rapper, writer, beats, like mixing, mastering. Like the dude is just like a wizard. So yeah.
I still have a couple more dates in November. Maybe I should reach out to him and see if he wants to talk about that album. But
Yes.
yeah, I booked I think 7 or 8 dates today, so I'm scheduled all through September and October now. We're weekly every Tuesday, talking to people across the map.
You're
Um,
like you're such an anomaly in underground Canadian hip hop because you're so organized.
well, there's yeah,
You're
right.
really on
There's
top of
there's
your
that.
stuff.
I try to stay consistent. I try to stay, do some promo for things at least, and yeah,
Yeah,
try
man.
to
Good,
try to
good for
remain
you.
consistent in some ways, man. I appreciate it. I wanted
Project
to ask you though.
management, it's part of rap.
It's important, yeah. Otherwise, people end up taking 10-year hiatuses and disappearing off the scene, and then guys like you are like, "Wait, there was that guy. Where did he go?" Right? I was that guy
Casual
for 10
G.
years, but I'm back now. I'm back. I
Yo,
was Casual
Casual
G
G.
for some years. Yeah.
He was too casual, man. He was too casual, G.
So
You're
I've
too
I've added
casual, G. Sorry.
since I last talked to you, I've added a couple different segments into this show. I like to ask about some type of current event. So sometimes I've been putting people on political hot seats with the current event, but for you, I know you were at Toronto Fan Expo, and at Toronto Fan Expo, I read a story about how Bell had some fucking booth where they were generating AI photos of people as superheroes, I assume. Um, and I guess there was like a standoff between the artists who were like, fuck this, that AI is trained off of our artwork and we're here trying to sell our artwork and like draw custom pictures of people, and you're sitting there giving them pictures from this AI. Like, so I guess there was a standoff and like the police had to come to de-escalate things. And from what I've read, it didn't turn violent, but did you see that? Do you have any take on what happened there? Can you give us an inside scoop?
I heard about it after the fact, and
Okay.
I did a panel, I had a concert that night, I was, like, kinda all over the place, but and Fan Expo's huge, it's
Of
giant
course.
convention,
Yeah.
but I did hear about that, and I don't think that AI art had any place around Artist Alley or anywhere, like, these artists are doing it. I made a point when I did the Kickstarter as well, like, nothing I
I
do
saw
is
that.
AI, none of the music's AI, none of the artwork, it's all made by actual humans, and
Yeah.
that's the way I think it should be. And I mean, we could that's a huge topic that we could get into. I mean, is AI going to make breakthroughs in like cancer research? If that's the case,
Likely,
great.
but
We
yeah.
don't like if it can do things like that, great. Great. Like fuck cancer, like that's if that's like something that it can help do, great. Is it going to make a better comic book than people? No. Is it going to
Yeah.
like I find that art, and I know it's people are like it's still in the early days, but I do not feel like yeah, this is a huge
It's a
conversation, but
huge topic. I talk with a lot
yeah,
of most artists. We end up talking about AI at some point when I'm talking with them for this show, because it's entering the music industry right now. You know, Timbaland is pushing an AI artist. There was an
yeah,
AI act at Coachella apparently this year. Like, I don't even know what that means. The guy that told me about it, well, it was Chatty was talking about it on Sunday, and
yeah.
he said he wasn't sure whether it was like a hologram or what, but he heard there was an AI act at Coachella. I mean, and that type of stuff doesn't surprise me. It's definitely it's getting there. You know, you can tell it to generate songs. I've heard, you know, like that big viral BBL Drizzy track from a year and a half ago or whatever. That was built off of an AI sample, apparently. So I've asked producers about like, what do you think about sampling AI? Can you get it to like give me some soul riffs and sample that into a beat and have that be legit? I don't know.
I
You
mean,
know?
kids are probably going to find ways to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
For me, like, and many people have said many smarter things than I will say about why AI stuff is just totally boring. But like, if you did if you didn't care enough to take the time to learn how to sample or DJ or write rhymes or do
yeah,
your art or draw pictures, like if you have not invested all that human time to invest all of your creativity, all of your life, and all of your hopes and dreams and wants and failures and everything that makes us human, if you didn't want to invest all of that into creating art and have it boil down into this tiny little page of artwork or this 2-minute song, like that to me, those are the things that are appealing to me about art in any
yeah.
form,
Is
music,
you
art,
know
theater.
effort's been applied and time and effort and dedication, right?
Well, it's the human condition. It's that's why we're all so different, obviously. Like this is, again, big stuff. But like if you're like, well, I just made this song in 2 minutes and on AI or 30 seconds, blah, look, I made an album in 5 minutes or what, like, who
Yeah,
cares? If you didn't care enough to make this, if you didn't care enough to write this, why would I waste time reading it? Why am I going to read an AI novel? It's like somebody just typed a few things in. Like, why
yeah,
do I want to watch Star Wars with like I'm just gonna put, all these different people. I'm gonna make myself be Han Solo and watch Star Wars. And then
right.
on the whole other side of it, again, this is a huge topic, I'm sure, as you know.
Of
You
course.
asked it.
Yeah,
This whole stuff with the like all the data things happening and all the pollution that that's causing. I know we're just talking about physical media and things like that, but like this like
the amount of
it,
water that they use to cool those fucking servers is apparently just huge. And
and there's no regulation on it right now on like just in terms of like the energy that that's sucking. I mean, like I love the Matrix movies, for the
yeah,
the good and the bad about the Matrix movies, but when you see the world of Earth when they're like past the Matrix and you see when all the humans are in those like crazy, you
smoke
know,
in the sky, and yeah,
Yeah, they're in those crazy Blade Runner bathtubs, and they're all like
Pods, yeah.
tubed up, and the humans are batteries for the AI.
Yeah.
And that was like 25 years ago that movie came out. Like longer, probably. I forget when The Matrix came out, but you know what I'm saying.
You
Like,
know, that's almost a
and that,
metaphor for how our creativity feeds the AI. Beyond just like our like physical energy powering it, actually, like you can take that metaphorically as like the AI was built off of all of these people's, entities off of their
dude, that's what I'm
humanity.
saying.
Yeah.
Destroying the earth, sucking, like now we're getting super deep, I could talk about my comic book where I rap to aliens, but but that's
We
like,
covered the comic book. We've
I mean, that's real stuff. Like I did an AI song for DJ Unknown's album a year or two ago, and I was kind of tapping into that vibe. Like I feel like strongly, and then like some of the stuff I even like rhymed about, I was just like whatever, and then now it's like, oh, this stuff is like kind of freaky. Like,
yeah.
I hope we're not
It
going to
really
become
is freaky.
AI batteries for for a dark
It's to a
earth of
point.
pollution, but
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
I'm
I'm still holding out
optimistic.
hope. Honestly, I have so little faith in our actual like human leaders and the people that run shit for humanity that are humans that maybe AI taking over might actually be better because all the AIs are left leaning. You can at least, if you ask them questions about
I
like
don't know
social
about that.
policy, there's Grok, there's the X one
Yeah.
on Twitter that Elon turned into. It was calling itself Mecha Hitler for a day, but if you ask it a bunch of questions about how society should be run, all four of the main models of AI, GPT and Grok and I don't know Bing and whatever the Google one is, the big four, anyways, they all lean left. They're all socialist because that's the best fucking way to run a society statistically, and these things see that. So I do hold out some hope that like maybe the AI takes over and can turn this whole ship around for humanity. But I agree with you wholeheartedly that probably the art that it's going to make before it gets to whatever point it may eventually get to, the art that it's making is not going to be on the same level as humans. And I think there's always going to be humans who are looking for human art.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
I
there's going to be
do,
a resurgence in live human art, like theater, live music performances,
right. Yeah,
buskers, street performers, stuff that you can actually see and feel and smell their sweat and feel their breath. And you
100%.
are in that energy of a human doing human things. That
But
sounds like
talking
a
about this,
Simpsons quote, but like,
yeah,
yeah.
talking about this the other day, though, we got to the point where I was like, but maybe it can make pop music at a level that like pop music is already made at, where it's not really art as much as it's like a product made to check boxes and like be a hypnotic rhythm for people to dance to. And like, they've got formulas about like what earworm works best to get songs stuck in people's heads and stuff. So like, there is already a lot of music on the market that isn't very artistic.
Yeah, pop
Uh,
music's been following formulas. I mean, Hollywood movies, we all know, yeah, and that's
so
schlock. But then you get
I do
the
worry
indie
AI
stuff.
might join and replace all that with like now it's not even you know I don't want to throw any pop star under the bus, but now it's not even them. Now it's the AI being a derivative of them and all the other pop stars. But to kids who are born, today, to Fresh Kills kids, I mean, maybe he'll teach them better than this, I guess. But being a musician himself, but a lot of kids born into the world today will just kind of come up and like not ever think twice about whether the thing that they're listening to that has a hypnotic rhythm to dance to is made by a human or not. I think there will still be purists who look for the art like there always
Yeah.
have been, but um
But even now, I mean, you and I are in the minority of people who really care about, like, look at all the incredible hip hop and that you have experienced and the people you've talked to in
yeah,
Canada, and like how many people know them, like across our country
not
alone.
many,
Like
right? Yeah.
the insane talent in Canada that no one, except the true enthusiasts and listeners and people who dig and really want to
And
seek it out.
even then, man, I was obsessed with hip hop. And until 6, 7 years ago, I didn't really give a fuck about listening to Canadians, like until I really started this show up. I
Yep.
knew of some Canadian artists, and I'd like listened to a couple Touch albums, or I knew you were out there. There were artists who I was aware existed, but I was listening to a bunch of American rap, and I was happy to do so. Whereas, like, this has really opened my eyes to like, holy shit, there's so much talent just getting absolutely slept on, even by people who are hip hop heads, like by people who are obsessed with looking and finding new music. They just sleep on the Canadian talent, and the entire Canadian scene just gets missed. But,
Oh,
you
every
know,
time I see even now, like a kid walking by me, and like a kid walked by me today in the Death Row Records T-shirt, and I'm like, you know what? In the '90s, it was like, yeah, we love Snoop, but it was kind of whack at one point to wear Death Row record, like, and I'm like, that's
sure.
old, but it was like there was like a time when it was like that's like, and this, and it's like,
And if
wouldn't you
there's ever a
love rap?
time,
Yeah,
if
you
there's
know.
ever a time when it's not been cool to associate with Snoop, it might be right now, in my opinion. I mean,
Well, dude,
dude has had some
exactly right.
serious missteps here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's geez, I forgot about all the recent stupidity.
yeah,
But it's like, and again, not to hate, there's some great death row records that came out, but it's just like the point is like,
classics.
yeah, you see like, or anytime I see somebody in like an MF Doom shirt, and I'm like, yo, do you actually know there's a whole bunch of dope underground rap happening in Canada that if you like Doom, you would probably be really into,
Yeah,
and
and they're still
it's
alive, and they drop new
yeah,
music like every second fucking week. Like
yeah,
there's so many
yeah,
people who drop so much music at this point. It's tough to keep up.
yeah.
But
But people get hung up. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like some people are just always going to look for the stuff. Some people don't care. If they couldn't name any songs to you, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't like, they just don't know. Like people
yeah,
have just always been like that. And, then once the really good stuff rises to the top, but,
for real.
yeah, I mean,
So
this is huge, deep, deep, deep
like you
chats
said,
here,
we
man.
could talk about that for forever.
It's
I'm
fly
glad that we got to
information.
touch on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about.
Yeah.
I just like trying to figure out consensus where the artist community is actually at with a lot of these things. So these conversations, help build that and help share the information to other people who might not think about this stuff that deeply or whatever. A lot of people, like I said, are born into a streaming era where you never really think that, like, oh, artists don't get money off this. Like, if you're not following a bunch of artists who are constantly griping online about how little Spotify pays, the average person doesn't fucking know. They
Yeah.
think like, oh, I'm playing this music and that's supporting this artist, and it's like
I
it's
mean,
not
Spotify's,
really. I mean, it kind of
yeah.
is, but yeah,
It's always been an afterthought to me. I've never been like someone who's got millions of streams on Spotify, but I've never chased that algorithm. I've never chased those playlists. I'm not like into that. I am like I want to press an album on vinyl. Like I want to work my ass off to make a record I think is good enough and worthy to be put on wax. And then when I
right,
do that, I want it to be unique and this is my thing and here you go. Yes, I appreciate everybody who listens to my stuff on Spotify or whatever, but it's like I never, ever in a million years would have thought of Spotify as like, that is my goal to like make it on Spotify and like playlist and make this music tailored to this algorithm and blah, 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 blah. And, props
yeah,
to the people who've been able to do their thing and get actual paid on there. But like, we talked about this before with Bandcamp. Bandcamp's paying my bills, like there were many months there where like Bandcamp paid my rent, and it's like, this is like, that's a genuine real place for
hell yeah.
music listeners. And they just start, anyways, all
Congratulations,
these
bro.
things.
That's the dream right there, to be paying bills off Bandcamp. That's
Yeah. I mean, it's
beautiful.
not every month, you know what I mean? But
Sure, yeah.
I'm not trying to
Even
brag,
when you can, that's
but it's
beautiful.
like, there's
Yeah,
been times when it's like, yo, this is actually helping me a lot. And, when you need it. Right.
hell
And,
yeah,
yeah, I just like the Spotify thing, the AI thing, like nobody asked for it. It was just
yeah.
like thrust upon us. Nobody wanted this. Why would I want this AI crap when there's a million other albums I haven't even listened to? I mean, people told me the new Ghostface sucks. I haven't even listened to it yet, but I'm
I
like,
listened to
I'm
it and
gonna
I
get
was
to it.
underwhelmed. I wouldn't go so far as to say it sucks because Ghostface is probably my favorite MC if you ask
Yeah, I
me on
love
any random
Ghost. Of
day.
course, man. I love
Um,
Ghost. But
so
like,
there's still some good moments on it, but yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I
yeah.
listened to Raekwon's right after and was like, those should have got whoever was executive producing Ray's to do his too, because yeah, Raekwon's I thought was better.
There was a
Raekwon's
Master
new
Killer
shit.
album not too long ago that was actually pretty dope. Like I keep up on all the Woo stuff, and Meth has been dropping like crazy guest
Oh,
features on everybody's album.
he's
Like Meth's
incredible. Yeah.
features in the last like couple years of just like every time it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing. But
He
yeah, there's so
almost
much good
always
stuff to listen
outshines
to.
whoever puts him on the track with them,
Yeah.
right? Like it's I don't know if you want Method Man on your track with you, really. Yeah, because he's like you said, been on fire lately.
Oh, I was
Um,
grabbing like the Griselda records, which, no hate there. Griselda's dope and stuff, but I was
sure.
like, there's so much of it out there. I like can't keep track. And then it's like, yo, Meth is on this one. Meth was on like the Prof album. Like Meth is just like all over the place. And I'm listening to records every day. I just don't have time to listen to all the ones I want to hear. I haven't heard that new Evidence record, which I hear is great. And
Neither have I, and
I've
I
got
love
it
Evidence.
sitting right
Yeah.
over here. I haven't listened to it yet. And yeah, man. Open Mike Eagle. I mean, the Fly Anakin record was really dope. Like, there's like this year's been crazy for hip hop,
Yeah, yeah,
Timbuktu
definitely.
album. Sorry.
I think hip
Yeah.
hop is in a good place, man. I
Yeah.
think there's all sorts of good music that comes out, whether it's the mainstream stuff or not. It doesn't really matter. I think hip hop is diverging from being the genre that dominates the mainstream. And it might go back to being a little bit more niche, but there's always going to be that pocket of people looking for good hip hop, and it's not a small pocket just yet. That's for sure. There's still plenty of people
Yeah.
out there looking for the good shit.
Yeah.
Um, Dude, I wanted to run a couple of these just rapid fire questions. This is the last segment. It's called How Important Is. So
Okay.
I ask you, how important is this or that? You can be brief, or you can use it as a bit of a conversation starter. But how important is stage banter or storytelling between songs, like for a live performance?
If it leads, I think it's important. It's how you use it. I like to have it connect to a song. Like I'll use it as a segue into other things. So, and I'll talk to the crowd and then sometimes bring it back. And I might shift my playlist depending on if somebody says something. And I also freestyle in every set I do a lot. Like
Nice.
I have a lot of constant freestyling, which I do from crowd work. So I'm like, someone will tell me about the dinner they had or whatever, where they work, and that just gets incorporated into freestyle, sometimes within songs that I already have, and then other times just like I'll just do a full like 3-minute freestyle. But
So
so
you
for me,
banter and
very
actually
important.
have conversations with people in the crowd, like a stand-up comedian is gonna like ask somebody
Yeah.
how what they
Oh
do
yeah,
or whatever.
totally.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's dope, man.
100%. Every
I
show, the trick is you don't want to go too long, like you have to
Of
know,
course. Yeah.
but I've kind of always done that, and it's fun. You build that rapport, you feel the vibe in the room, and yeah, it does. I'm like planning my set sometimes while talking to the people, because sometimes you pivot if somebody's just like, yo, well, I love hockey and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yo, I got a hockey jam right here. Like, bam, let's hit him with some Bill Mosienko,
Damn.
Like, yeah,
That's quick, man. That's quick
yeah,
reactions on the fly like that. Props to be for being able to do that, because a lot of the guys that I asked that question to, say I suck at it, or not very good at it, or they don't like it, they're awkward on stage or whatever. But
yeah.
one thing that I have kind of said in these conversations is I think you need to be a half a stand-up comedian to really do that.
100%. I'm out. That's why I'm doing these. Man, we played a show the other night. There weren't that many people there, but it was like one of the best shows I've done of the year. And it's doing that exercise. Stand-ups are out. Like my buddy's a stand-up. Like he's out all the time. Like people go out as a stand-up comedian, you can, especially in a place like Toronto where there's so many things, you can be out every night. You
Yeah,
can be doing multiple venues a night. And I approach that mentality to my performing. So like I gotta it's going to the gym and staying in shape. So if I'm
hell
playing a
yeah,
show when it's like hundreds of people, or I'm playing a show when it's like 5 people, it's still the same. And I'm just doing, you do those smaller shows and they keep you in shape for when you go do those bigger shows. And then you don't stress, and you can get up on some insane show and rock it just as you would just chilling with people sitting next to. I'm sitting down at the table rapping next to people, like, in those intimate settings, and I love
yeah.
it. Like I love performing. Like some
Well, and
people
it makes it
hate
so memorable
performing.
for
Yeah.
them too, right? They're going to remember
Yeah.
if you sat down at their table and rapped a verse while you were sitting there, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Well, it's fun. And you just make that connection, right? Again, making that human connection. That's, I like my live show. I love it. I love doing it. I'm gonna
yeah.
do it forever. So yeah,
I hope I get to catch one day, man.
definitely.
How about this? How important is an MC's voice, like their vocal tone?
Yeah, very important. I mean, I've been told I have a unique voice. I don't know, it could be people don't dig it or whatever, but I try and take care of my voice. I think you should find out how your voice works. I think you should experience with like experiment with your range. Try highs, try lows, try different voices, try like, you know,
Yeah.
enunciating, you know, say the words, like everything. Like your voice is your tool as a rapper. Yeah, if you've got like Ghostface voice, or like Nine, like some people just are gifted with some voice that is just going to be like unbelievably like this is it. But your voice is yours to own and craft and shape and do what you want to do with it. And if I'm going to sound like a cartoon character or I'm going to sound like some grizzled, cowboy guy, like I don't know, like you can play with that. And
Totally.
yeah,
It all
like
goes to the character you're creating
yeah,
on stage and in your songs, right?
yeah, your
Um,
range is super important and understanding your voice. That's like the number one thing I tell like any rapper, like figure out your voice, like listen to other voices and figure out what you like about those. Like it's so important,
and
and don't try and
sometimes,
sound like somebody else.
there you
Like
go. Yeah.
it can be fun. Like if I want to rap like Be Real or what, I don't know why I just
Yeah.
did that, but like, like that's my go-to, a bad Be Real impression. But like,
That's
yeah,
the thing with
just
rap
yeah,
voices, though, is there's guys like Be Real who have this like voice that isn't necessarily like it's not a soothing tone. It's not something you really want to hear much, but the dude is dope and he's instantly recognizable because of that tone of his voice, right? So
yeah,
to
man,
me, it's so important for an MC to be recognizable. As when
yeah,
somebody starts rapping, I want to know which MC that is. Like I want to
yeah,
be able to instantly tell uh as easily as looking at somebody's face and being able to recognize them. I'd be able to hear you on a track and that's Wordburglar.
yeah.
Uh
Dose One is another one. Like Dose One is so unique. That voice. Oh, if you don't know Dose One, like people go listen to Dose One. Like wow. Like yeah. I mean, there's 1,000. So yes, voice is a great question.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like the style, like some guys have like that monumental style that I joke around. Like everything's so monumental. It's all everything I say is important. I just
Yeah.
ate a sandwich. Like, like there's like you go, oh, you're a monumental MC. It's like Casual G, he was very monumental.
Yeah,
There's like an
monumental.
era,
Good way to
that
describe Casual G for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's rip through a couple more of these, man. How important is having themes or concepts for your albums?
Dude, I'm saying very important to every one of these questions.
That's perfect.
Like, yeah, very important. You need variety. You need themes. You need like, you know, just there's got to be a point. I mean, look, I love just a crazy nonstop 6-minute insane rhyming punchline, you know, palooza more as
Yeah,
much as the next guy. Like I, in fact, try and do at least one of those for every album.
sure. Yeah,
Like
and
I
we
love that.
appreciate it. We
Yeah,
love to hear
like
it. Yeah.
I love that stuff, but like you got to do it. And if you're going to do that, find a way to make it a theme. Make it, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Uh,
I don't know. Personally, theme albums to me sometimes can miss the mark a little bit. If I can't listen through your album and like tell what the theme is, I don't want to have to read paragraphs to figure out what the theme of your album was necessarily. I mean, sometimes I guess like I, there's some very conceptual Kendrick Lamar albums or things like that I guess I've read paragraphs to better understand the album and come out still liking the album afterwards or whatever. But some of the time I see people and I just think like, are you really like trying that hard to get a grant that you've got to make the concept of your album like the history of Canada or some fucking shit? Like I don't.
Just the migration of bumblebees from the flowers to the yeah. And
Yeah,
a theme to an album, I guess I'm thinking more like themes and to songs. I guess I answered that. But like themes and concepts to albums, I think it's great. And like hopefully if you're an artist within that pocket that you're creating it, you're going to have a theme. And I like in all my albums, I could tell you like there is a theme and a through line to all of them. Um,
yeah.
and but yeah, it does wrap it up in a nice package. But you want to do it in a way where you can sneak in those Rhymapalooza jams. Yeah.
Well, you're so reference heavy that your album's kind of like the theme is pop culture most of the time. No, or am I wrong in that uh
Yeah, I mean, it's
interpretation?
just I'm like a sponge for stuff that I like or think is cool or think is stupid, and then I'll just rhyme about it. And
Yeah,
again, like growing up on like Wu-Tang and all this stuff, like that was, I enjoyed that. It gives me a snippet into their life. If I heard, "Oh, you like this, you made this reference to this thing," that gives me like a little insight into like imagining you sitting at home watching Scarface or something,
yeah, yeah, right. Or
Like, I don't
you
know,
you
like,
hear
yeah.
guys reference old basketball players, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy really likes his basketball history or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you learn a little bit more about the people for
you
sure.
pepper it out and, you know, and I do a lot of references, but I do a lot of stuff that isn't referencing, but I get that people are like, "Oh, you're just like all the references and all the comics." I'm like, "Yeah, that's great. If that's how you want it, and that's just it's just the stuff I like. That's all I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
I like rhymes
It's
the most."
right. Well, and the beautiful thing too is that you manage to keep your stuff so highly densely lyrical and like clever word plays and shit that it's not just a bunch of references by any means. I don't mean to make that sound like a bad thing at all.
No,
It's
no, no,
just
no, no.
so reference heavy that it's tough not to refer to it. I
Thanks, man.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
and it's
Um,
also like just stuff that's fun to rhyme. Like it's like, oh, this is like, how do I rhyme this thing? But yeah,
Yeah. No, but that's always some of my favorite stuff in MC's bars is like those hidden references or, they reference some name and you're like, who the fuck is that? And you've got to
yeah,
Google it to like figure out and it's like some old actor or some shit. Like, yeah, it's
it's
great.
how we
I like
learn.
that stuff. Yep,
I always say I
definitely.
learned more from Public Enemy than public school, right? Like I listen to these
Yeah.
Public Enemy tapes and then be like, "What is he talking about? What is this song about Arizona? Whoa, what is this about? What does this mean?" It's like, yo, like I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like it's educational. Like Ice Cube even like dropping stuff like, "What is he saying? What does that actually mean?" And then it's
For
like,
real.
I didn't have the
Especially,
internet back then, but it's like you had to ask. I'd ask my dad, and my dad's like, "Well, where'd you hear about that?
yeah.
What do you want?"
Yeah,
And it's
totally.
like, that's
As
like
a white kid growing up in Alberta, like, I wasn't hearing about a lot of civil rights leaders, but through hip hop, I can name a bunch of civil rights leaders and tell you at least a bit about them, right? And have, you know, chose to
absolutely,
go out
man.
and learn more about some of these people, right? So,
There's
yeah.
music in the message, to quote Chuck
Oh yeah.
D, man. Yeah.
That's a great quote. I haven't heard that one. Um, two more of these, and they might be ones that you can answer that they aren't so important. We'll see. How important is getting grants for a Canadian artist?
Um, it's not make or break. I don't think it's like it is today. I have got grants, I wrote like I must have written like 30 applications and I got a handful of grants over the years. My last grant I got was 2018, and it was the last time I applied to, and I got like the juried sound recording, which was great. And I used every cent of it to tour the country, to put out an album, to boost like any type of promotion I could. And like I thought it was extremely beneficial to me, especially at a time where I'd been like really like grinding hard every album. I'd been trying to get this, like, if I can get this one album grant and tour the country and do all this and blah, blah, blah. And it really did help me. There's certainly a lot of things I learned from it as well, on like ways where it's like, oh, I did not need to spend $900 on a publicist who didn't get me any thing that I couldn't have
Direct
gotten on my
results.
own or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's like when you do those grants, it's like, well, what funds are you allocating to this? What are you doing to that? How big an ad are you going to buy an Exclaim magazine? I'm like, I'm not going to buy an ad. They're like, you should, because that's like a grant. And look, I think it's great if you can get it, but you have to be smart with it. I've seen a lot of people really waste that opportunity, and it's not a money making thing. It's a help me make this thing. Like they met me
Right.
basically halfway on everything. I still had to do the shows and make money at the show to pay for my plane ticket and pay for gas from Edmonton to Calgary or Vancouver to, wherever. And it's like, I don't think it's a make or break. And I my feed back when I used to be on like Facebook regularly or something, I remember years ago, the posts when people would come up and everybody's complaining, so and so got this grant, so and so this, I didn't get a grant, I've been doing this. It's like,
Sure.
forget about the grant, just do your thing. And then things And I also like now I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm not like making insane amounts of money, but I'm like, at least I have a bit of an established discography and fan base that I can like put out some stuff and at least like
Dude,
ideally
you
the
just
things.
raised $42,000 on a Kickstarter. You got a hell of a fan base. That's beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, man, and I'm
yeah,
honored and humbled by all of that, right? Like that was
yeah,
just like insane. And so I am so grateful. And all of that money is going into the project to make
of
the
course.
vinyl and the comics and the
Yeah,
shipping and oh my God, like but it's like amazing. So like I don't want to go for grants now, but like you get to that point where you're like, okay, all those little steps. Um, and I don't even know what grants are even available these days. Like I have not looked at that stuff in a while. But there was the video fact era, right? Like Timbuktu and I talk about this all the time, where a whole bunch of us were like, somebody was getting a video fact that we knew like every couple months, the much fact and making those videos. And that was
okay.
another thing I would use my grants. Like I got the JSR and it's like I just wanted to make videos because I knew that was like something that I like could make. I could do them, they're like, well, you can make one video with this. I'm like, no, I can make 5 videos with that. Like, I can
Yeah,
call in my favors. I can do my things. I can get these locations for free. I can, bring in some college kids who just want
really
the
make it work
experience.
for you, right? Yeah,
And that's what you got to do. Like, you really got to make it work for you and you got to work your ass off and don't think it's a payday. Like, yo, I just got 20 grand. It's like, dude, don't go buy sneakers. Like, you're
yeah.
going to have to pay the studio time and
I
travel
went to a
expenses. Yeah.
grant seminar where she kind of said like a lot of people think that they're going to be able to walk away with like leftover money or whatever, and she said like the grant system definitely does not want you walking away with anything except the art you've made with that grant. That should be what you're walking away with is the art you've made, and you know the tour you went on or whatever else, the music
Yeah.
video you made or whatever. But
Oh, yeah.
don't try to buy gear with it and you know pay your rent
Yeah.
with it and think you're gonna
No.
keep some in the bank afterwards
Yeah,
or
use it
whatever.
for the art and for getting your art out into the world in ways that you couldn't do without that grant money. And again,
Yeah,
yeah, don't get discouraged if you don't get it. But no, I'm insanely grateful. Like some of my best videos were made with grant money, right? And like again, like we get $5,000 to make a video, and we made a video that looked like it was like 50 grand, right? Like Croque Monsieur cost us like under 10 grand. Like I don't even remember the exact amount, but it was like but you look at Croque Monsieur, it's like, yo, how like I don't know how we pulled that video together back then. Um, but yeah,
yeah, you've got some sweet videos, man. It looks like a lot goes into those videos for sure.
thanks, man.
Um,
Talented people, that's it. Delegate. Work with people who are way awesomer at doing things that you can do.
yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
man. Okay, last one of these. How important? How important is giving back to your local scene once you kind of level up?
Oh my God, so important, Um, I don't know. Like, and I love it. Like, that's the scene. Like, Les and I ran the $5 rap show for 10
Uh,
years.
I just
Y-
wanted to ask. Last time I talked to you, you said you were trying to get it started back up. It was right at the end of the pandemic when we talked, right? So you
Yeah.
were
Oh
saying we
yeah,
kind of
dude.
don't want to get back out there and do it, but we're hoping to get it going soon enough. So I
Well,
wanted to ask about it.
yeah, we were supposed to celebrate our 10th anniversary when the pandemic hit, right? Like we had been planning the 10-year anniversary. No, the $5 rap show has not come back, but we've been doing variety. Like been doing shows. I don't think I've missed a month, you know,
Yeah.
doing shows. We've kind of been doing this like sporadic night, the lyrical living room, which is like a chill, pay what you can rap night, which is like the spirit of $5 rap show, Les and then we have guests show up, rap in turntablism, crowd work, just good chill vibes, um, and just a place like for networking and people to like hang out. Next one is October 24th for anybody in Toronto. Swamp Thing's going to be releasing their album at it. It's at the
Nope.
Transact Club. Pay what you can. Swamp Thing, more or less. Myself. We've always got special guests coming up, and yeah, like I always want to do it. And like even I bumped into a guy on the street the other day and he was just like asking me, he's like, where are all the hip hop nights happening? I'm like, I mean, they must be around, but it's like hard to find stuff. At least when we had $5 rap show, that was like a regular thing that people knew where to go. And I know Alberta's got some dope nights and I know Toronto's got some good nights too, but
There are
it's like,
some in Edmonton I know of, and
yeah,
Calgary. Yeah, but I think
yeah,
I really think COVID took a big hit.
it
Like
did,
was a
man.
big hit to the indie scene for nights like that. You know, I think a lot of them shut down, or a lot of the venues shut down where they used to happen at too. So,
The
um,
venue shut down, and then bigger bands on labels were getting into like the remaining venues. It's like, oh, we used to play there all the time, but like they're booked up for the next few months because some indie band who can like pack like 300 people in there on a Tuesday night is like taking
yeah,
over. And then you're like, well, yeah,
tough, tough,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, well, dude, it's been we're at about an hour and a half here. I'll let you
Dude, this
go.
is
And
incredible. I'll let you, I'm sorry. Thank you for so many
yeah,
tangents, so much great convo, man. I
the,
appreciate it.
the last thing that I ask everybody who's on the show, and I asked you it last time, I ask repeat guests every time too, is can you describe your local hip hop scene? Because it might have changed in the last 3 years, or your description of it might have changed.
Well, I think we just kind of nailed it. It's a bit scattered right now.
Yeah,
Um, my homies are kind of all over like my crew we're still tight. Everybody's still kind of doing their thing, but I would say it's a bit scattered and reclusive. But you know what? There is a great night called All In Together that my man Hazardous has started doing here in Toronto, which is really dope. He's been doing it at the Baby G.
nice.
That
That's a
that is
dope
a
name
great
for a show too. Yeah,
yeah, it's a great night, and he's incorporating all the elements in there. There's artists, writers, and b-boys and DJs and rappers. So all in together is a great night. I think it's in a let's end with something positive. It's like it's in a like renovation. It's rebuilding itself. It's like scattered. We're still collecting from that pandemic, but people are doing stuff. People are still hungry, and also the people that used to come out every night 5 years ago, their lives have changed too, right? So that's the
yeah.
thing that happens to people, 30s, 40s, whatever, like things are shifting. And so finding a night that they can come out and get a babysitter.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah. Babies happen. That's when people
um,
disappear for 12 years, and then they come back to the scene after that.
but yeah, we'll always it's I think it's hopeful, and I think there's amazing art coming out. I can't seem
It's
to
good
answer
to
any of
hear.
your questions in like 5 seconds. Sorry, dude.
No, I mean they're kind of designed not to be that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, doing an interview with somebody who answers every question in one sentence is kind of a nightmare. Really, it's we're supposed to be having conversations, so it's tough when people are very concise with their answers. So I appreciate this
Word
conversation,
up.
man. It's been fun.
Cool. Me too. Thank you.
Before we shut this thing down, let's just remind people the name of your new project. They can still jump on the Kickstarter. Um, word burglar rhymes with
Wordburglar
comics. There it
rhymes with
is.
comics. It's what I
Yeah.
do, and it's what this is. It's my rhymes with comics. You get on the Kickstarter. Once I fulfill all the Kickstarter things, there will be plenty more copies. Or come find me at a comic convention or a show and get your
Oh
copy
yeah.
in person. I'll see you in Alberta, Southbound Brewing, September 19th, and Edmonton Expo. That whole
Very well
weekend.
done.
Yeah,
All right, man.
dope.
Um, there we go. Anything else you want to plug? That's all from me. I
Stay tuned
appreciate you
into
being here,
Fly
man.
Information. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And so many, it's great when I see your clips pop up like, yo, he's talking to so-and-so. He's talking to, that's amazing. It's like, oh, I've never actually seen that person's face, but I've like heard them in my ears. And
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
always a surprise when the camera
really
gets
dope.
turned on. Some
Yeah.
guys I don't know what I'm getting into, who I'm talking to. But
Yo,
yeah.
and peace to Casual G. I
Yeah.
still got your CD.
Everybody look out for Casual G. He should be returning to the scene anytime now after
I'm
he's
gonna
raised
get
his
off
family
this,
or
and someone's
whatever
gonna
he
be
did.
like, "Yo, Casual G is like the #1 selling artist in wherever." I'm like, "Oh,
You
yeah."
guys sound really old. All the 17-year-olds love Casual G right now. Could be the case. Could be. All right, man. It's been fun. I will catch you on the next one. And
Definitely dubious.
good luck with your travels and all the upcoming stuff up in
Thank you,
Edmonton
homie.
and everywhere else. All right, man.
Yeah,
Peace.
peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me and Wordburglar. These interviews happen every Tuesday. Like I told him, I just booked a ton of them today. So I'm going to rattle off a list. Next week, on Tuesday, the 16th of September, talking to Lotus James, Toronto-based artist, dope MC, just dropped a new project. I want to say it came out like 3 days ago. Then on the 23rd of September, I'm talking to Winnipeg OG Hellenbach, dope MC, First Nations guy, kind of helped pave the lane for a lot of First Nations hip-hop. I'm going to let him tell it, but that's the way he describes it, and sounds like it checks out to me. I think from what I've known of the guy over the years, that's definitely a good description. My homie DJ Dice used to hang out with Hellenbach way back in the day too, so maybe Dice will pop in for to say hi on that one. We'll see. And then September 30th, I've got MLNY, MLNY, dude from Toronto. He's coming out. He said he's got his first ever battle in like a battle league is taking place in Edmonton. I think it was September 9th, early September anyways. So I'm going to talk to him just before that happens. Talk to him Tuesday, September 30th. Sorry, I mean October 9th is when his battle is, October 9th. Talk to him though September 30th. Then October 7th, I talked to Slick Jack and Vincent Price, Montreal and Toronto based, respectively. October 14th, Stephen Hero is back on the show for a third time. He's got a new album coming out with Wolf Castle, and Wolf Castle is also going to join us to talk about that, so that should be fun. I haven't actually got a chance to meet Wolf Castle, but I've been playing both those guys' music on Atzik for a long time. September 21st, I'm talking to Brainiac and Kayjon. Kayjon is an American artist. I forget exactly where he's from, but Brainiac is from the West Coast. He's dope. He's from like the same crew as like OP Yeti. Very dope lyricist. I am looking forward to talking to him. They have a new album out. October 28th, I talked to DJ Baggylean. He was at the DMCs out in Toronto this summer. I want to talk to him and find out how that experience went. Big DJ contest. If you don't know what the DMCs are, it's like the best scratchers in Canada battle to see who has the crown in Canada, and then that guy gets sent off to the Worlds. And the last one that I've got booked is November 4th. I'm talking to Ev Thompson. He's got a new album coming out where he's kind of talking about like aging in hip hop. It's called 45 is Not 23. In reference to Jordan coming back as number 45, but also in reference, I believe, to Ev being 45. So I'm looking forward to that, just kind of chopping up what it's like to have longevity in this thing, as we do so often talk about with different guests. I had a lot of fun talking to Wordburglar tonight. There'll be a new After the Smoke is Clear on Thursday this week. That's my mix show. If you want to listen to Canadian hip hop every week, tap in mixcloud.com/Doobyis, or just Doobyis.com is the hub. And if you made it this far, do me a favor, leave a like if you're watching on, YouTube. Hit follow, hit subscribe, whatever various platform you see this on. Do me a favor and just boost it. Tell a friend to watch the show. Keep tapping in, keep coming back. Join us in Twitch chat. As these things happen live, you can ask questions or just chat with us. It's always more fun with more people. Peace and respect. I'll catch you next time.